Right, on to one of our big talkers of the day. Do keep your thoughts coming through, 4001. Google announcing that they are now offering an on-campus hotel special to help lure workers back to the office. There are a number of things that are wrong with that headline, and to help me unpick them, we are joined in the studio by the founder and the owner of Workplace Maven, Oliver Baxter, who's joined us live this morning. Oliver, always good to see you. Thanks so much indeed for your time.
You too, sir.
Right, let's just give people a few more details on this one to allow them to come up with their own opinions, because I have opinions on this one. So the company is saying that full-time employees can book a room at their fully owned on-campus hotel over there in California, up in Mountain View, but they are going to have to spend $99 for the privilege of doing so. They're deeming it a summer special, and yet it's also part of this Get Back to Work campaign as well. I just can't understand how you can dangle the carrot of offering somebody to pay for a night stay in a hotel that you own in order to get to work.
It's not an offer. That's not a bargain.
Is this what we've got to at the moment? And again, I don't want to come across as some old fuddy-duddy and not with my finger on the pulse, etc. And I get the idea and the need for hybrid work offers and bits and pieces like that. But this just seems to be going to sort of levels of desperation to get people back behind their desks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an incentive. If you calculate it over the cost of a month, that's like $3,000 that you would have to invest if you were to be there for the full 5 days a week. But it might be attractive to certain demographics who would prefer to be in the office more frequently, but actually can't afford, the travel or the commute time or, that petrol, or they have some caregiving responsibilities as well. So it could help some demographics, but what I've seen on some of the threads, there's a really big backlash from the employees against this because Google own the hotel and they're charging them for the permission to live in that hotel for $99, which isn't a bargain, by the way. My wife, she works for the Abu Dhabi government, and she goes there every single day, and then occasionally 1 or 2 nights a week she'll stay in the hotel next to it. That's $88. 4-star, same as Google's. That's a little bit of a better deal, and she'll do it just so she doesn't have to do that commute.
I mean, I'm just reading some of the sort of... it's the wording. It's the wording that got me on this one. It's almost like they are trying to sell it like a holiday in paradise or something like that. The promotion reads, just imagine no commute to the office in the morning. Instead, you could have an extra hour of sleep and less friction. Next, you could walk out of your room and quickly grab a delicious breakfast or get a workout in before work. That's not a start. That's not work. This is, they're selling a weekend away.
Well, that's what they're selling. But if you actually look at the facilities that Google are offering as part of their hotel, it looks more like a co-working environment,
right,
rather than a hotel. So what you're actually going to be doing is impeding people's work-life balance in that instance. You're going to be ending up socializing more with your colleagues into the evening, which actually is a work activity, right? Because if you don't like your colleagues, if you haven't got that connection with them, that community, then you can't collaborate with them. So of course, it's in Google's best interest for them to continue to socialize into the evening so that they can better collaborate going forward. So for me, it's not a great offer. It should be free, if anything, or maybe like you have a certain number of days a year that you can use the facilities for free because they do own that hotel. It's very similar to something that WeWork tried. WeWork tried something called We Live, and it's the same premise basically, but you're creating that hall's residence in the university experience that we had, but a little bit of an upmarket version of that. So it's small bedrooms, right? But then you've got big communal areas for everyone to connect with. And that's basically what Google have kind of done with this hotel environment. So for me, yeah.
I described it to when Brandy and I were discussing it a little bit earlier on. I suddenly got sort of flashbacks because I thought, oh no, this is boarding school all over again. We're back to boarding school, etc. I was sent to boarding school by my parents. Okay, I had a little bit of say and had a great time. Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity. I'm not sure whether I can sell that into a Google executive who, by their very right, are probably creme de la crop of whichever university they've come from. These are not, individuals without cash in their back pocket and without an opportunity to make their mind up for themselves. Being sort of corralled into staying into a fully owned Google hotel, it smacks to me of desperation of trying to get people back to work.
Yeah, I think so. But again, people do want to be there. It's just the cost of living in those areas. I mean, the tech sector love basing themselves in very expensive places to live. And of course, during the pandemic, everyone distributed themselves across the country to more favorable and cost-effective regions. In fact, in 2004, there was a very famous case by a Google employee called Brandon, and he slept in his car and just used the Google facilities. So he had free breakfast, lunch, and dinner, used the gym, used the saunas, used the massage tables, probably the sleep pods as well. But he stayed there famously for 6 months and then published a blog post about it, which kind of like just stop that straight away, because they didn't want people doing that. But that's how desperate people are to save money.
There's obviously been a bit of a hike up, and we've certainly seen this from the Google CEO, Sundar Pichai, and other major CEOs, not just over in the States, but the world over, of trying to get people, or cracking down on office attendance in recent weeks as well. Is this, are we sort of seeing this difficult area here? Because lest we forget, Google were very, very vocal about adopting a very hybrid work environment. They wanted people to express themselves, work from home as much as possible when they could, etc. And yet now that sort of mantra seems to have changed. And I'm sure they're not alone. Are a lot of offices facing this issue at the moment?
Yeah, globally it's, not here, but globally it's an issue to entice people back into the office, because it means a complete refurb of the space and the management practices. The IT have already been through this. Like during the pandemic, IT were like, well, we can't have people work from home. How are they going to access the servers? And now IT have got everything sorted. We can all like work remotely safely. And everyone's saying, right, well, come back into the office. And IT are like, whoa, we just did all this good work. So let's not unpack it all. And let's take a measured approach, because I think the return to the office might not be the right direction.
Obviously, we get a lot of these stories emanating from the United States and other parts of the world, etc. But as you rightly said there, we don't seem to be facing this issue here at the moment. Why is that the case?
Turnover. We have a very high turnover of employees within the region. In fact, Gallup in 2017 highlighted that we have the biggest brain drain in the region, not for any nefarious reasons. It's just there's so many expats here. So we're going home, we're going on the next place for our career ladder. We just have such a turnover of employees. It's really difficult to get them to stay for extended periods of time. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to keep people in your organization, especially if they're staying in country. You're going to want to make sure that you're offering those correct incentives that are on par with the rest of the world.
Are we seeing that starting to change, though? I mean, our previous guest, Luke O'Brien from Octopus, talking about fixing stuff for people, AC units, etc., roofs in the storm, was saying that he's seeing a lot more people own their own home, but that he's seeing a lot of younger people buying at the moment, a lot more people in their late 20s. If you're buying a house here in your late 20s, there's a good chance that you're thinking of staying here and you'll be in the workforce for a while. How does that change things?
Yeah, I think what the leadership has been doing, especially, the entirety of time that I've been here, but during COVID, they make it extremely difficult to leave with the digital visas. The red carpet is literally rolled out across the region. So I personally can't leave, and I plan on raising my kids here. So that is going to have an effect. We're going to be, what is it? We want to 3x the region with it, between now and 2040. So part of that is some of these practices having to be implemented in organizations. But of course, government can only do so much. So they've got things like the 4.5-day work week. We've seen a massive spike in engagement in those employees, but the private sector hasn't followed suit. But for how long? Maybe Google would do better just to offer people 4-day working and say, right, well, we need you in the office for those 4 days.
Stop buying hotels.
And stop buying hotels. Yeah. But it could be a moneymaker for them.
That's what I mean, yeah. They're just trying to fill the rooms, aren't they? No one's travelling at the moment. Oliver, bless you. Thanks so much indeed for your time. Oliver is the founder and owner of Workplace Maven. They specialise in workplace consultancy and, of course, keynote presentations as well. Thanks, mate.
Dubai Eye 103.8 traffic.
With Yas Island Abu Dhabi. Kids stay, play and dine free all summer long on Yas Island Abu Dhabi. Book now, exclusively on yasisland.com.
Very little to talk about on the roads of the UAE. Heavy traffic coming in from north to south, Sharjah to Dubai. One accident's just happened on the 311, Dubai Investments Park, just as you're heading towards Dubai Aid City, down towards Expo City. That's the only issue on the maps this morning. Quiet one on the roads.
Dubai Eye 103.8 traffic.
Up next, we're going to speak to the new relocation service that's taking traditional relocation a little bit further, not just helping you find accommodation, but also helping you to find new mates as well. That's next.
Weather check.
With Air Arabia, enjoy amazing adventure and stunning landscapes in